Excuse me, sir, could I have a permit to exercise my rights? What time can I do that and where? Man, Jefferson must be rolling right around with Orwell about now. Where we have come here in this country. And note, I'm in it too. Of course, I suppose if I said I wasn't, if I were to stand here and renounce my citizenship tonight, say I never asked for it in the first place, it's something you imposed upon me, what would they do with me? Deport my ass to Oklahoma? So that's the go-away side. That's sort of subtraction. That's the purge agenda, for lack of a better term, and they've all iterated it. Interestingly enough, David Horowitz, my favorite ungraduated academic expert who has never published a refereed piece of anything at any point in his life, but going to explain exactly how higher education should be reorganized from his position of monumental competence to speak on it. He initially joined that course and then said, no, wait a minute. I don't want anybody losing their job here. I'm magnanimous. You know, I can't figure out what my ideology is from one moment to the next. I'm a Stalinist traitor in one decade, and I'm somewhere to the right of Attila the Hun in the next, and you should trust me because I zig and I zag all over the goddamn place. I announced myself self-concept having been a traitor to the United States in the 1960s, but rather going to prison like a man of integrity would do if he actually believed what he was saying rather than ingratiating himself to a new audience. He goes out and becomes a hero of the right on the basis of his treason. Really interesting country we inhabit here. Well, David zigged and zagged on this and decided that what we really needed was more people like him in the academy and to balance out people like me that are in the academy, neglecting to mention that I offered him a job when he ran that rap at the University of Colorado and he turned and ran. The last thing he wants is to actually be pinned down for more than 15 minutes on a campus to where he might have to answer some questions and be subject to the inconsistencies of his argument being addressed and have to respond in depth to questions about what it is of a factual nature that he's basing his positions on. So another little hoax. In any event, I probably am digressing too much. Let's get out of the subtractive to the additive part. Quick poll, we are in California. Does the name Clark Kerr still have any resonance out here? Yeah, we're getting applause for Clark. He ran UCal Berkeley up the road here back in the 60s, which must have been a really entertaining job. He was still in charge when they tear gassed the Regents. Oh, the old-timers in here are nodding and smiling. Yeah, California used to be a cool place. They tear gas the Regents every once in a while, just to, you know, give them that commonality with the people sort of touch. You all get tear gassed together. Well, Clark wrote a book. He wrote several, actually, but he wrote this one particular book, came out, I think, 1963, sometime in the early 1960s. Very interesting little piece of work. Now, 1963 is a long time ago. You'd think this is a little bit outdated. Harvard University just republished it. This is not coincidental. The book in question is titled Use of the University, and it lays out this vision of how these institutions are supposed to work. And this fits into the New World Order, the militarism, the corporatism, and all the rest of everything we've been talking about all night. Here's their vision for you. The other side of the subtractive part, Kerr set up the schematic vision of the university as follows. You've got raw material, students. You've got a workforce, the workers. That's the faculty. You've got funders. Well, hey, they're the same guys that own the actual factories, okay? These would be the corporations and some selected areas of government, but primarily corporate. And then you got this managerial class, which are the university administrations, and they're responsible to the funding entities to ensure that the workers do a proper job in molding the raw material into a finished product of use to the funders, the corporations. Okay, basically the idea is to turn these higher educational institutions into glorified vote techs. That's it. You're to get critically, well, they're fairly advanced, they're fairly complicated, okay? You got some technical stuff here that's hard to learn, but they need a workforce that's basically well trained in these areas. That's what you're to be trained in. Okay? No clutter of contentiousness about analyzing what these skills are to be used for. You're simply to get the skills imparted in a block section of ideological support for doing whatever it is they want you to do with it in an efficient manner once you're out. No side chatter. That's the vision. Gee, I wonder why Harvard just came out with it in the midst of the kickoff campaign on a national purge of dissident voices in the academy. One side completes the other. Now, is this conjectural? This institution is accredited. It doesn't function. Your degree is useless without that degree being from an accredited institution. There are accrediting agencies that ensure that certain standards and forms are complied with. That's the basis for the accreditation. Nobody ever stops to wonder who accredits the accrediting agencies, however. They're treated as if they were some sort of an autonomous entity floating around out there that the institutions are accountable to, and that ensures the integrity of the education received by the students who pass through them, and the marketability of degrees. Well, actually, the accrediting agencies report to the Department of Education of the federal government of the United States. The accrediting agencies are accredited, in other words, by whoever is installed as a Secretary of Education and his or her delegates. Well, the delegates have been telling the accrediting agencies right here in California very recently, hey, we need help, the accrediting agencies are saying, because they're telling us that we need to incorporate a whole new component into the criteria of accreditation. That is employer satisfaction. Are the corporations happy with the products coming out of the institutions? And they've even got a concrete recommendation as to the model for assessment of how the institutions are functioning. It's called the University of Phoenix. You know, it's a mail order house funded for corporate execs in mid-career to get their credentials in the particular skills areas that will take them to the next step up the ladder. That's to be applied to all institutions of higher education. The accrediting agencies don't want to do it. And what they're being told by the feds, we'll pull your ticket and we'll do the accrediting ourselves. I'm not making it up or being rhetorical about glorified vo-tech. Now, I don't think that's why you signed in to a university in the first place, but I'm also pretty sure most of the faculty members here, all of whom could probably be employed by University of Phoenix or a comparable institution if you desired to, really wanted to work in that particular environment as the workforce shaping the product for the edification of corporate employers on the backside of the bachelor's degree being conveyed to your students. But you better take this seriously, because they're not talking about it, they're doing it. They're moving on it. It's happening as I speak. And academia, of course, is the citadel for critical engagement with orthodoxy. It is the one remaining area. Federal judiciary and tenured faculty members are the two areas where people have licensure free, in theory at least, from political intervention to state what's on their mind and follow their beliefs. Well,